Ms. Fox?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate this. I have said to the chairman myself personally that I am very concerned with the direction this committee has gone in the last year or so, because I think we've been playing gotcha games, and I don't agree with that. I think there are billions of dollars being wasted every minute by the federal government, and what this committee ought to be doing is doing government oversight, and we're not doing that. I am not a fan of holding these hearings on issues we have no business dealing with. However, I think since we're here, it's important to try to get some questions answered. But I really wish we would get back to what our job is, which is government oversight and accountability. I'd like to ask you, Mr. McNamee, a couple of questions, and then Mr. Clemens, I'd like to ask you a couple. Mr. McNamee, are you planning on trying to make money off of this situation?
No, I'm not.
Are you writing a book, or do you plan to write a book?
No, ma'am.
You don't have any deals in the work with book publishers at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We'll see. Mr. Clemens, I'm sorry, and I apologize to all three of the witnesses that we've been pulled out to go vote, and I have not been here for all of the testimony, and I apologize for that, but I thank you all for spending your time here. Well, let me go back. Mr. McNamee, I want to ask you one more question. In the Mitchell report, you say that Mr. Clemens used HGH in 2000, but that he didn't want to use it again because he didn't like it. If that's the case, why would he possibly want to have his wife injected with it, which is what you've alleged?
He asked me to instruct her on how to do it. She continued to use it on her own, and you're asking the wrong person.
Okay.
Congresswoman, if I may, my wife's has been coming to question here. Can I read a statement from my wife, please?
Certainly.
If I may. This is from Debbie Clemens, my wife, who is here in the room with me. I'm not sure of the dates, but I read a news article about the benefits of growth hormone. During that same week, talking about the subject openly, Brian McNamee, who was at our house in Houston training people, approached me to tell me about the article. He said it was not illegal and used for youthfulness. The next mid-morning, he said he had some and would be able to give me a test shot. He gave me one shot. He later left the house on his way to the airport. During that time, Roger was not at home, and I didn't have the opportunity to tell him about it later that evening when he arrived home. In telling Roger about that evening, I was also having circulation problems with itching. It happened the following night, just not as bad. I was very comfortable in trying it, but it was a harmless act on my part. Also, since McNamee had a PhD, he was a trusted good trainer. Roger said, let's back off this. We need to know more about it. And she agreed. She really didn't need it. She has been broken up over this for a long time, and she's said to me now she feels like a pawn amongst his game. I would have never instructed Brian McNamee to give my wife these shots. Once again, I don't know enough about growth hormone. I would suggest that young kids of all ages, athletics, I don't know enough about it. It doesn't help you. But I also have heard, again, different news articles where people for quality of life have used this product. I have learned more about growth hormone in the last month than I ever have known. I'm offended, again, that I was instructed, and I think he said earlier it was his instruction, earlier in the day, that I instructed him to give my wife growth hormone.
Thank you. I have four photographs here I'd like you to look at. We don't have the exact dates on them, but this photo was taken somewhere around 95 and 96. This one, 98. The one over here between 2000 and 2002. And this one here, sometime between 2004 and 2006. Mr. Clemens, I am not an expert in any of these issues, but you appear to me to be about the same size in all of those photos. These were taken before the accusations that you took human growth hormones. They were taken during the time that you're accused of taking them and after them. Again, it doesn't appear to me that your size has changed much in these 4 photos. Perhaps you'd like to talk a little bit about your regime of conditioning that you go through. I know that you take it very seriously, and maybe you'd like to say something about how hard you work at keeping yourself in shape and how that would result in the stamina and body build that you have.
Gentlelady's time has expired, but if you want to answer briefly.
Thank you, sir. Congresswoman, yes. When all these false allegations came out about me, I told them to go talk to the trainers and the people around me that know me the best. My body didn't change. I didn't start throwing harder. The fact of the matter is, I started locating better as a pitcher. I think this has gotten a lot of mileage of it out of it. A general manager in Boston, who will leave his name out of it because he's got a ton of mileage out of this, said that I was in the he made what I feel is a smart comment, a remark, that I was in the twilight of my career. And in that 1996 season, when I was in the twilight of my career, I tied my own single season record of 20 strikeouts. I led the league in strikeouts that year. I was in the top 10 in innings pitched in ERA. And if I was in the twilight of my career, I doubt that the Toronto Blue Jays ownership would have made me the highest paid pitcher in the game of baseball the following year. That following year, 1997, I won the Triple Crown Award of baseball, which is wins, ERA, and strikeouts. And that's before I met Brian McNamee. Once again, it bothers me greatly that he has taken his PhD and gone out, and from what I've learned, he's coached high school kids or college people. He told me Wall Street guys.
Mr. Clemens, you don't know whether this is true or not. The question you were asked is, do you have a good regimen for physical exercise? Do you?
I do,
Obviously,
but
you've been very successful.
I'm sorry?
You've been very successful as a baseball player, so you keep yourself in good shape, don't you?
Without question. I take a lot of pride in it.
I see that. Thank you very much.